Is there really more traffic today? Hi folks, Robert Lowell Goller here. Thank you for joining me for our weekly chats about local history. Now this question came up over the summer when I was chatting with some folks who had graduated several decades ago from East Aurora High School, and they were saying about just how they've noticed much more traffic here in our little village than ever before. And this happens in many towns. We've heard over and over again that there's just more traffic. And sometimes when we look back on history, or we try to figure out statistics, our perception might not be reality. And in this case, our perception of more traffic is actually reality. There are stats out there that confirm that there is indeed more traffic in America, in the United States, and in our small towns, more traffic than there's ever been before. Now, lots of people keep statistics. The State Department of Transportation, the National Department of Transportation, the Department of Energy even does, because of gasoline prices and things like that. So if you just look at the statistics, you will find that there are way more cars on the road today than there's ever been before. 1960, 22% of households had 2 or more vehicles. In 2020, 59% of households had 2 or more vehicles. A huge jump. 1960, 2.5% of households had 3 vehicles or more, and by 2011 it was 19.1%, and today it's over 20% at 22%. We have way more cars. So 22% of households have 3 or more cars. Now, how many of us remember, even when I was young, it was very rare for a household, for a family to have more than 1 vehicle, and if they had 3, that was really unheard of. But today, lots of households have multiple cars, and we just see the difference. We can feel the difference, and the statistics prove it as well. Now, there was a big jump between 1970 and 1980 in the statistics, and the prices of cars relative, they're still expensive. More people could afford cars, and more cars were put on the road between 1970 and 1980, and again there was a jump between 1980 and 1990, and then it sort of leveled off. But that's when more and more cars came on the road, and it's no coincidence that also during that period of time you had more people working outside the home, 2-income households. I talked about how we changed our shopping patterns for my book, Who Put the East in East Aurora. I have a whole chapter on shopping and the shopping patterns, and how supermarkets took over the mom and pop stores, and we just needed cars to get places more than we ever did, and that occurred in the 1970s and 1980s. The last passenger trains, the commuter trains, they had been phasing out for years, but in the 1970s, that's when the last commuter passenger trains left the train station here in East Aurora. It's no coincidence, more cars on the road, fewer people taking the commuter trains. And it's also a chicken and egg thing. Did more people get cars because of the trains? But we also were changing our focus to motor vehicle transportation. Route 400 went in the late 1960s, early 1970s. More people were using cars, and they could travel the highways. The highway systems came about in that period of time. The limited highways with your exits and your entrances, like the 400. So it's no coincidence that that was happening around the same time that a surge of motor vehicles were entering our streets. So what's the impact on a small town like East Aurora because of the additional cars on the road? Now you can see it. You can see the impact and the timing. The timing is the exact same of more cars on the road leading to other things. Traffic lights. I was talking to the folks from the class of 1960 at their reunion this summer, and they were joking about when they went to high school there was 1 traffic light in the village of East Aurora, and of course now we have multiple traffic lights, and most of them went in the 80s and the 90s, including this one behind me in front of the middle school today. There was not a traffic light when I went to this school across the street. It's a fairly new thing. More traffic lights. Of course, down at the other end of town, on the west end of town, the Tops Market went in. Even with the plaza there since the late 1950s, early 1960s, there wasn't a need for traffic lights. But with the addition of the Tops supermarket down there and more stores and more cars on the road, additional traffic lights at that end of town came into play. And that occurred in recent decades. So it's a fairly recent phenomena as more cars are on the road. Turning lanes, as they redesign Main Street, they put in turning lanes to make the traffic flow work better, protected turns on the traffic lights, more signs. You see all the signs behind me, more traffic signs to keep the flow going because of the traffic. More roundabouts. Now, we've had the circle here in East Aurora since 1936, where you go to other communities and the traffic patterns have changed drastically in the last couple decades. Roundabouts are seen as safer, and they came into play because of more traffic. One of the neat stories that my grandparents told me, they lived out on Route 16 in Holland for my great-grandmother lived there as well. And they told me stories of when cars would go by and they would wave, because so few cars went up and down Route 16 through Holland that it was an event when a car came through. And of course today there are just a lot more cars passing by. You'd be standing out there all day waving constantly. It wasn't as big of an event when a car passes by on Route 16 in Holland. So yes, there are more cars on the road, and as a result our downtowns, our streets have changed. The need for more stop signs, the need for more traffic lights, all have resulted from more cars on the road. And we have shifted focus in the last several decades to motor vehicle transportation over other forms of transportation, including walking. And so there are definitely more cars on the road. It's anecdotal, we feel it, but it's also backed up by the statistics. So thank you for bringing that question to me, the folks who are in town visiting for their reunion. Yes, East Aurora has more traffic today, and we have more traffic lights as a result. So again, I'm Robert Lowell Goller. Thank you for joining me for our weekly chats about local history. I'm on Main Street today. I am the Town and Village Historian, but these videos and my research projects, including my book, are not officially affiliated with my job as Town and Village Historian. For more information about the book, Who Put the East in East Aurora, and the series that I hope will follow it, please visit my website, robertlowellgoller.com. You can find out all the information about the book, where you can buy it, local bookstores. And thank you again for supporting my research projects and my book project. From Main Street, thank you for keeping history alive, and we will see you next time. Take care.